I was standing in our bedroom at 2 in the morning, staring at my husband's laptop screen, and I couldn't breathe. There, in crystal clear high definition, was my husband. Not gaming, not streaming, but filming himself with a woman I recognized from our neighborhood gym. And this wasn't the first video. There were dozens, all tagged with prices, subscriber counts, and a business PayPal account I'd never seen before. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the laptop. 5 years of marriage, 5 years of believing him when he said he needed just a few more hours to finish a raid. 5 years of eating dinner alone while he was locked in that office. And it was all a lie. I'm going to tell you exactly what I found that night, how I uncovered the truth, and what I did to make sure he lost everything. Trust me, you'll want to hear how this ends. My name is Sarah, and I met Jake 7 years ago at a friend's barbecue. He was charming, funny, and attentive in a way that made me feel like the only person in the room. We got married 2 years later in a small ceremony by the lake. He worked in IT, I was a pediatric nurse, and we had this beautiful vision of our future together. We bought a modest house in the suburbs, talked about starting a family, and I genuinely believed I'd found my person. He'd always been into video games, which I loved about him at first. It was his way to unwind, and I thought it was kind of cute how passionate he got about his online friends and guild meetings. But about 2 years ago, things shifted. What used to be 2 hours of gaming a few nights a week turned into 6-hour sessions every single night. He started locking the office door. He bought expensive new equipment, a professional webcam, studio lighting, a ring light that he said was for better stream quality. He told me he'd started streaming on Twitch and was building a following. He even showed me his channel a few times, terrible gameplay footage with maybe 12 viewers. I believed him because why wouldn't I? He'd set up a whole PayPal business account, he said, for donations and subscriptions. He was trying to build something, he told me. He just needed my support. So I supported him. I brought him dinner at his desk. I rearranged my nursing shifts so I could give him quiet time to stream. I stopped asking him to come to bed. I stopped asking for date nights. Friends would ask why he never came to gatherings anymore, and I'd defend him. He's building his brand. He's really passionate about it. I felt like a supportive wife. I felt proud, even. But deep down, something felt wrong. He became secretive with his phone. He'd angle the screen away from me when I walked by. He started showering the moment he finished streaming, every single night, without fail. When I'd try to initiate intimacy, he was always too tired, always too drained from the stream. The credit card bills started climbing, new camera equipment, ring lights, backdrops, a subscription to some video editing software I'd never heard of. When I asked about it, he got defensive. "This is an investment in our future, Sarah. Do you not believe in me?" So I backed off. I picked up extra shifts at the hospital to cover our bills while he invested in his streaming career. But that wasn't even the worst part. 3 months ago, I ran into a woman named Melissa at the grocery store. We'd done a few spin classes together at the gym. She looked uncomfortable when she saw me, almost guilty. She mumbled something about being in a hurry and practically ran away from me. I thought it was weird, but I didn't think much of it. Then 2 weeks later, another woman I vaguely recognized from our neighborhood crossed the street to avoid me. That's when the paranoia started creeping in. Were people talking about me? Did they know something I didn't? I tried to bring it up to Jake. "Have you noticed anyone acting strange around us?" He barely looked up from his screen. "You're being paranoid, babe. Focus on your work." That word paranoid, it stung. It made me feel crazy. So I pushed it down and tried to move on. Then came the night that everything fell apart. Jake had been streaming for 4 hours. I'd gone to bed alone, as usual, but I couldn't sleep. Something felt off. Around 2 a.m., I heard him leave the office and head to the bathroom, and for the first time in months, he'd forgotten to lock his laptop. I don't know what compelled me to walk into that office. Maybe it was intuition, maybe it was desperation, but I sat down at his desk and moved the mouse, and the screen lit up. OnlyFans. Not Twitch, OnlyFans. And there he was, in our guest bedroom, the room I'd helped him soundproof for better stream audio. There were videos, so many videos. Him with Melissa from the gym, him with at least 4 other women I recognized from around town, professional lighting. multiple camera angles, a whole setup I'd helped fund with my nursing salary. The account had over 3,000 subscribers. He was charging $20 a month. I did the math in my head while my heart shattered. He'd been making over $60,000 a month for at least a year. I felt like I was going to throw up. I clicked through the account. There were schedules, new content every Tuesday and Friday, a business email, a whole brand. And then I saw the messages. Women asking when he'd be available for custom content, him negotiating prices, him arranging meetups in our home, while I was working night shifts at the hospital. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen, and something inside me went cold. Not sad, not hurt, cold, calculating. I'd spent 2 years making excuses for this man, 2 years eating dinner alone, 2 years defending him to friends and family, 2 years paying our bills while he told me he was investing in us. And all of it, every single second, had been a lie. I opened my phone and started taking photos. Every video, every message, every transaction, every face. I documented everything. Then I opened his business PayPal account. Password saved, of course, because he never thought I'd look. $68,000 in the current balance. I took screenshots of every transaction going back 18 months. Then I closed the laptop exactly how I'd found it and went back to bed. Jake never even knew I'd been in there. What I did next. Most people told me I'd gone too far, but I don't regret a single second of it. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Jake left for his day job in IT like nothing was wrong. The second his car pulled out of the driveway, I called a divorce attorney. I sent her every single photo and screenshot. She told me I had one of the clearest cases of financial infidelity and marital misconduct she'd ever seen. Then, I called a locksmith and had every lock in the house changed. I packed every piece of his gaming equipment, every ring light, every camera, and I put it in the garage. Then I sent a message to Melissa and the 4 other women I'd recognized in the videos. I didn't threaten them. I simply said, "I'm Jake's wife. I found everything. I've filed for divorce and I've documented every video. I suggest you take yours down before his account gets reported and investigated." Within 2 hours, 3 of them had blocked Jake and deleted their content. Melissa called me crying, apologizing, saying she didn't know he was married. I didn't care. I wasn't angry at them. I was angry at him. When Jake came home that evening, his key didn't work. He started pounding on the door. I opened it with the chain still on and handed him a folder through the crack. Inside was a printed copy of every transaction, every video thumbnail, and a note from my attorney. "You have until Sunday to remove your belongings from the garage. Do not contact me. All communication goes through my lawyer." He tried to explain. He tried to say it wasn't what it looked like. He tried to say he was going to tell me. I closed the door in his face and locked it. I sat on the floor of my living room and cried for 3 hours. Not because I missed him, because I was mourning the person I thought he was, the person who never actually existed. The divorce was final 4 months later. I got the house. I got half of every dollar he'd made from that account, including back payments for the entire time he'd been lying to me. The judge was not sympathetic to a man who'd used marital funds to build an adult content business, while his wife worked night shifts to pay the mortgage. Jake tried to argue that it was his business, his income. My lawyer presented the receipts for every piece of equipment, every utility bill I'd paid while he was filming, every dollar I'd contributed to his streaming career. The judge awarded me $62,000 in the settlement on top of the house. I donated $10,000 of it to a women's financial literacy nonprofit. The rest went into a savings account I'm never touching. I'm rebuilding my life now. I'm back in therapy. I've reconnected with friends I'd pushed away to accommodate his schedule. I even went on a date last month, nothing serious, but it felt good to be seen again. To be valued. If you're watching this and something feels off in your relationship, trust that feeling. You're not paranoid. You're not crazy. You're paying attention, and if someone is asking you to sacrifice your peace, your time, and your financial security for their dreams, make sure those dreams are real. Make sure you're not funding a lie. I'm Sarah. I survived this. And if you're going through something similar, you will too. You deserve someone who sees you, who values you, who doesn't lock the door. If this story resonated with you, subscribe. I share a new story every single week. And drop a comment below if you've ever been betrayed by someone you completely trusted. You are not alone, and you will get through this.